Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing in for Comic-Con Radio. Coverage of pop culture events from around the globe. Amazing interviews with celebrities. Daily recaps and reviews of popular television. The Walking Dead. Z Nation. Van Helsing. DC Titans. Flash. The Legends of Tomorrow. Black Lightning. American Horror Story. The Green Arrow. Movie reviews. Everything Comic-Con and fandom from around the globe. Comic-Con Radio. Get ready to enter our universe. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host, Galaxy, on Comic-Con Radio. Today, we have an amazing guest. He is the author of Battle at the Comic Expo. It's a book basically from what he's seen in his life being part of the Comic-Con in San Diego and all sorts of other events and experiences in life. It's a great book. We've had the pleasure of getting a copy of it. You know, I think it's going to be great. He's done a bunch of other things, so we'll talk about it on the show. This is Richard Andreoli. We have him live on Comic-Con Radio. What's up, Richard?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Sorry for the energy. It's just too much. Our energy is too much sometimes.
It's awesome. I love it. Thanks.
Thank you for coming on the show today. So your book, it's doing pretty well. Yeah. What made you think of writing a book like this?
Like you were saying in the intro, I volunteered for Comic-Con in San Diego for years, from the time I was 15 until I was in my late 20s. And one of the things that I always thought about was, you know, if you're in this world of people who believe in heroes and heroism and doing the right thing, but what if like a crisis hit? Would those fans be able to step up and actually be heroes? And I played with that idea for a long time. And then eventually decided that I'd do it out as a book. So that's kind of the genesis of the whole project.
What were the different positions you did for Comic-Con, by the way?
Yeah, so I started at Comic-Con in the registration department, and then I moved into the treasury department. And that was when the convention was smaller, so they actually took cash on site. Like people would, you know, pay with credit card or cash to get in. Now the convention sells out, you know, a year in advance. So that doesn't happen. But at the time, you know, here I am with the head treasurer and another staffer, and we're counting, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I thought, God, this seems like a great setting for a heist movie. And at the time when I was doing that, I was just about to leave San Diego and move up to Los Angeles to go to UCLA for writing in English, literature and whatnot. And, you know, when you're moving to LA, your whole thing is, I'm going to be a screenwriter. I'm going to write the next great TV series or movie and all of that stuff. So for me, I thought this is really a great setting for a movie because you got the crazy characters at a comic book convention anyway. You've got the, you know, arrogant comic book creators. You got the crazy obsessed fans. You've got fanboys and fangirls who just love their stuff, you know. And those are my people, right? Like I love passionate fans. There's nothing that makes me laugh harder and have a better time than being around fans of a show, you know. And I thought, God, this is a world that hasn't really been explored also. So you've got like a great setting, a great kind of heist idea, and then this world that hasn't been seen. So I thought all of that together made for a really good setting and a good movie idea. Now, as I tried to write the movie and it became this big giant script that would have been a 3-hour film and, you know, and I wasn't as experienced as a writer, so it wasn't quite as good, I started really sitting with it. And my fiction writing and my short story writing and my journalism work was picking up more. And so that's what made me think, well, let's adapt it instead of being a movie or a miniseries for TV or whatever epic thing I had in my head. Let me try to do it as a book. And so honestly, the idea appeared back when I was volunteering in the Treasury Department, but I really started honing it and writing it out when I was working in entertainment. Over the last 12 years, it's gone through a bunch of different iterations until it's come out to the version that it is now.
You're right. Our community, our world, our universe doesn't have much. There's books on comic book characters, you know, that's what our world started off. And to see someone come out with this and such a cool story in the way you did, it's really great. I want everybody in the Comic-Con world to pick up a copy. I saw some of your videos and stuff of how you write edits in books and you leave them out on tables. Do those kind of work? Is that something that's working for you?
yeah, some of the ideas I know are working, and some you have no idea if they're working or not, but they're fun, so you do
It's
them.
tough,
So
right? It's tough.
you're referring. It's tough. It's tough. But, the thing is, too, is that, like you were saying, there are some books and stuff, but I feel like a lot of times whenever you see fan culture in movies or TV, they're always making fun of the fans. They're not one of the fans. And I find that really insulting because, if you think about it, Hollywood is now making money because of fan culture. The fans have been the ones who have taken the reins and made these movies and these books and these TV shows. I mean, the frickin' CW wouldn't be a success right now if it wasn't for the Greg Berlanti line of shows. You know what I mean? That's really all because of the fans, right? Bringing power to popular culture. So one of the things that I do in my side gig, because writing the book is not paying the mortgage payment, I do a lot of different marketing things. And I was an early person in the Facebook marketing world. And I thought, I can market myself, and that's one of the things that I think we tend to forget about as creative people. We tend to think like, oh, I know this guy who does this, and I know this girl who does this, and da-da-da-da-da. But we don't think about what we could do for ourselves, what our skill set does, or our close network of friends and family can do to promote ourselves. And when I twisted that thought in my head, and I thought, oh, you know what? I've got designer friends who can design the book with me. I've got editors who can edit it for me. And I've got people in marketing who can help me market this. And I can do my own Facebook marketing. When I came up with that and I realized, oh, it's not me against the world. It's actually my world lifting me up. That's when things started to turn for me. Then I was able to hit the ground running. So I've got Facebook ads, and I know how to do the targeting and that kind of thing. And what we did was we shot a trailer for the book. We wrote out a script for it. I had a director friend get voice actors together, and they recorded audio from the book. And then we edited it into a trailer, really kind of cool. And then what I did was I sent that out on Facebook, and people who watched 50% or more of the trailer, I retargeted them to go and buy the book. And then they did, or people did, right? And so that was one approach. Then another approach was like, I thought this was just funny, and I have no idea whether or not this works. I can track the video views on Facebook and see how that links to purchases. That part I can track. This next idea I had, I can't track, but I think it's freaking funny. I Xeroxed the first chapter of the book, the cover of the book, and the back of the book. And then at the bottom of every page, I put the URL to the book website. And at the top, though, what I did was I put editor's proof, not for resale. And I went through, and friends went through the Xeroxes, and we all started doodling on it. And we would write cast lists and agent names and lawyer names and fake phone numbers. And we would circle things in the pages that were Xeroxed. And we would say, like, call legal department, see if we can sue him. And we put sort of like crazy shit in there. And then what we would do is go to Comic Con and go to LA Con and all of these various conventions around the U.S. I'd send them to my nieces in Texas. I'd send them to friends on the East Coast. And they would go around into the convention meeting rooms, and they would leave them on the chairs, and then after the panel, and they'd exit. So people who are attending the convention would find this, quote, writer's proof, or editor's proof, I should say, and hopefully think they had stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to find, be enticed by reading the first chapter, and then go to the website to learn more, or maybe buy the book right off of that. So again, I have no way of tracking whether or not that method worked, but we had a fun time doing it. And for me as a creative person, and I'm sure you feel the same way, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. Well, this was work, but it was totally fun, so it was worth doing.
And that's actually a great idea. I'm going to actually use that idea.
I feel like it's the new secret thing that people should do, because everybody wants to stumble across something that's like the hidden treasure, right? And, when you go to these conventions, you do know that there are editors and writers there and artists and stuff. So why not find it, and finding it that way as opposed to getting up a postcard at the freebie table. Postcard at the freebie table is great, but a lot of people just take stuff and then they get home and they go in through their loot and they toss it out. With this, it looks like you're getting something special. So like a friend of mine, Michelle Savengsuk, who did the cover of the book, she was the one that helped me on that project. And she's done a lot of viral marketing, things like that. She and her husband worked at Disney in the digital side. So their whole world was coming up with these interesting campaigns to get people engaged with Disney products. So again, like, listen to your friends, brainstorm with your friends. You've got creative people in your life. So why not take advantage of that? And, that cost me some people are like, well, it costs a lot to do that kind of thing. That cost me less than $10 to do that plan. You know what I mean? And for less than $10, it was a great, great idea.
That's absolutely really cool idea. I really like it a lot. And that's good you have a lot of friends. Through the years, you've probably built a lot of friends. You're a writer. You went to UCLA. You worked at Comic-Con. So you know a lot of people. And it's the fanboy or fangirl's dream to find something like that at a Comic-Con event. That's actually an amazingly smart idea. I'm going to use it myself, actually. And I'm going to go.
That's great. You totally should.
And I'm going to record it, and I'm going to make a show out of it. I'm going to see who picks it up.
Well, yeah, and so that's the thing I guess your listeners didn't necessarily know. But what you were talking about initially, I made a video showing me doing it.
Yes.
Kind of a silly video. It's really kind of stupid. But then when I had that video, I'm like, well, now I've got another social media post, because that's part of the challenge, right, is how to find something to put on Facebook and Instagram all the time, constantly feed that beast. So by doing a video about how I marketed the book, that gave me an extra video so that I could post. So in the same way, I think you should totally go and do it for your projects, film yourself doing it, and then use that film as extra marketing material. Like, everything is marketing these days with social media.
That's actually smart of you. A lot of celebrities and a lot of people with fan base and things like that, they use those opportunities. There's all sorts of services out there.
When I had my first book come out in 2004, I thought, well, this is it. I'm now going to be selling books left and right. I've got an agent, blah, blah, blah. Nope. That's not how it works. And really, when your book came out, did you end up having to do just as much work hustling and getting your own publicity and all of that anyway, even though you had a publisher, or did they have a good team?
No, they had a team, but it cost so much, so I ended up doing a lot of the work. It's just somebody else is opening a little door for you. But with good companies out there, they're doing the same work. The distribution's the same. Everything's the same,
Yeah, exactly. If you've got to already do the work, then why not just do it for yourself and own everything 100%?
That's right. And you can make good money on it. And also a book, and what I tell everybody out there, the book, don't think of it as just money. Think of it as an opportunity to open a door for you. And that's how I look at it.
That's exactly right. That's totally right. Yeah, because unless you're Stephen King, unless you're this big name, it's really, really hard to make your career off of writing books. But like you say, if it's your opportunity, you have no idea where this book is going to get you. It could get you as a consultant on one thing. It can get you indoors on another. Like when my first book came out, I was suddenly a talking head on like TV Land and VH1 talking about pop culture. Well, that was never what I thought was going to happen. But you know what? It was pretty great. So that's the thing. Like, it's your opportunity to open doors for yourself and sell yourself for everything that you have a skill for. Because once you're in, then it's you, and then it's really you shining,
Absolutely. Do you still help out at Comic-Con these days, or no, you've done that, been there?
I don't volunteer for Comic-Con anymore. A while ago, when print publications were still coming out, the last thing I did for them was I helped set up, they did a Comic-Con update magazine that came out 4 times a year. And we did it kind of like a legit magazine. The back of the book always had hotel information, registration, that kind of thing. And that was really cool. But the front of the book I loaded with interviews and spotlights and writers and artists recommending comic books to fans and that kind of thing. And that was the last thing I did. And really, the thing that I don't think fans necessarily consider is just how much time those volunteers put in to make the convention happen. It's a lot of work, and I just didn't have it anymore in me to like go down there, once a month for the committee meetings and then volunteer and stuff. And you're gone for a week. If I'm going to be gone for a week at Comic-Con, I want to be there enjoying myself, being able to have a drink at lunch, being able to talk with friends, not worrying about like whether lines are moving properly, that kind of stuff. But it's good. I still go down. I still hang out with my friends and volunteers who I worked with back then. I was just down a couple weeks ago, seeing those guys. So yeah, they're still really important people in my life. People who are at my wedding, people when they're in LA and they need a place to crash, they stay with me. Those are the people who I grew up with, from 13 to my mid to late 20s. So, they're still tight friends of mine, more so than even people that I went to high school or college with.
Yeah, well, you share this big fanatic world. I commend you on that. You helped out a lot, and people do not know how much time it takes to put into something. It's not just the event, it's like the process, the thinking, the helping. Oh my God, it's so much. Were you sad when John Rogers passed away? Did you ever meet him? Did you ever have communication with him?
Oh, yeah. When I said that I was down in San Diego a couple of weeks ago, it was for John's memorial. I knew John and Janet, his wife, very well. He became president, I think, the year before I started volunteering. We were Facebook friends, the whole thing. John was young. You know, he was in his 50s. To pass away at that young an age, he did so much for the convention. John was never one to take the limelight. People, I don't think, realize the role that he played in making Comic-Con into the event that it is today. You know, before he became president, the convention had been plagued with financial issues, with, you know, not making a profit, that kind of thing. And John, in his 20s, became president of the convention and turned it from being in debt to being successful and growing and having assets and moving it from the old convention center to the big convention center and into the giant event it is today. John wasn't one who enjoyed being in front of the camera, so he never was. But he was definitely the quiet leader of the convention. It's so funny. When back in the day, I threw special events for the convention too. One of the parties I did was the Star Wars 20th anniversary party. And at the end of the convention days, John would do a thing called Con Talkback, because he thought it was very important that the fans be heard by the convention organizers. So he would sit there on the panel and for an hour and a half or something, take questions and complaints from fans at the convention, things that they liked, things that they hated, things they didn't understand. He would explain reasons why decisions were made, if they were made one way or the other. But one of the things that I saw that he did, he took notes on everything everybody said, no matter how ridiculous I thought it was, no matter how weird, whatever. He would nod and he would write the note down. And people, you know, started criticizing the parties that I was throwing, and I was getting all fired up. I'm like, they don't know how hard I worked. They don't know this and that, right? And I'm getting really like angry. And John is just nodding and he's taking down notes. And I was sort of a little at the time. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And then my friend David, who works for the convention, is like, Rick, he's giving them respect. He's showing to them that somebody's listening to them, and he's going to go back and he's going to look at that later, and maybe there's something good in what they're saying, even though you don't see that. And I was like, wow, okay. And it taught me, not as a fan, it taught me from a management perspective how to treat people that you work with or run your business, essentially, because the fans are the business. If there aren't fans, there isn't a Comic-Con. How to give them the proper respect and how to learn from them, because they do have good ideas. And it was a lesson seeing him do that I have taken into my professional career ever since. I always think of John nodding and taking down the notes. So even when I'm in a meeting with some person that I think is completely insane, I will nod, take down the note, and look at it later. And that all was a lesson I learned from him. It's really a crazy thing. Those little acts that people do in your life that impart such learning on you later on.
It's really nice to hear the way you speak. It shows that you had a lot of admiration and care for him, and you got fluttered there for a second, and you had to like pause yourself. You were just
sorry.
Thinking of it. No, it's fine. It shows your humanity. That's why you came out with such a cool book. You know, you've been part of it.
Yeah.
You're the guy that's been at Comic-Con before people had to wait 2 years to get into it, you know? I know they say a year. No, it takes like 2 years to get to Comic-Con now if you don't try.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'll miss it. It's that chance, but you were there from back then and you saw the president. You know, of course, not everybody becomes best friends, but you're around it. You're influenced by it. You grow with it. You learn from it. And it got you to the point where you came out with this really cool book and you came out with cool characters. Which one of these characters in the book is a reflection of you? Like, which one of them is like, I could say, I kind of am like that, or I'm not, you know, something like, I know there's one of them that kind of has a little bit of your personal.
Right. Well, so you know what's interesting, and if you have therapists on the phone, they can hit me up for work later. Okay, on the blatant surface, there's a 17-year-old kid in the book, maybe 18 in the book, named Xander, and he is this flamboyant, over-the-top Ren Fair kid. And that was me at Comic-Con, because I was doing Ren Fair. I would wear the garb. I would talk in the bad verse, like, verily, my lord, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So on one surface, there's that. But the two lead characters in it are a guy named Ron Lionel, who is an obnoxious comic book creator. Ron is that sort of douchebag guy who became very successful in comic books. And to any of us in the fan world, we would look at him and say, oh, he's living the dream. And then the hero of the book is this guy, Joe. And Joe is the head of convention security. And Joe is the guy who wanted to be a writer growing up, but gave up being writer for the steady paycheck. Really, those two guys are different sides of my personality. Ron is me when I moved to LA and was really moving up and was doing development for production companies and was on sets and that kind of thing, but was surrounded by a group of functioning drug addicts and people who were living kind of a crazy wild life. And the Joe character is the side of me that sees myself as a failure, right? That side that a lot of us artists have where we are constantly thinking, we're not good enough. Our work isn't good enough. We're, blah, 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 that kind of shit that we put ourselves through for no reason whatsoever. So to me, it's like two different sides of my personality. It's me taking my insecure side and throwing him in a room with the side that could have been, but may not have been healthy or good for me. You know what I mean? That may have been one step away from an overdose or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, maybe this book was a bit of therapy by throwing those two different sides of my life into one room together. But really, if you're asking at the core, who the heart is closest to me, it's the two leads. It's both the protagonist and the antagonist, and it's the two of them facing off.
I wondered which one was you. People out there that don't know the story and haven't read it yet or haven't bought a copy of it yet, which hopefully they will after this, what can you give us a synopsis of the story? Like something there that you don't ruin it, but at least tell them some good, juicy stuff where they can be like, I got to get this. Yeah,
so Ron Lionel, who is based on a lot of the comics creators that I met and dealt with in the 90s, and I'll leave the fans to try to figure out who I'm basing that character on. He is, the hottest thing in comics today. He's got this series that looks similar to The Sandman, although I am not in any way basing him on Neil Gaiman, because Neil Gaiman is a delight, and I love him. Ron is, though, this arrogant a-hole. And he does a change to his series, which is the most popular comic book being published right now. But the change that he makes really sets the fan world into chaos. And one particular fan who has a not so strong grasp on reality comes to San Diego to try to confront him and figure out why he made the decision he did. Her name is Velma. And Velma inadvertently kidnaps Ron. She accidentally kidnaps him and Joe, who's the head of convention security. And not knowing what to do, she's got them in her hotel room. So the two are locked up together in the hotel room. Once they come to, the two of them have to figure out a way to work together and escape and stop Velma before she accidentally either hurts them or destroys the comic book convention.
That's awesome. And basically, that's where you said, what if you needed help from the fans? Would they be there for you? So I'm guessing, well, I know what's going on, but I'm just playing like I don't. I'm guessing they all chip in and they battle it out, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to leak anything out. I'm very worried about that. I never like to do that.
No, thank you. It's awesome. It's great. It pulls on a lot of urban legends about San Diego and about Comic-Con. I mean, I call the convention a different name. I call it America's Finest Comic Book Expo because San Diego is known as America's finest city. So I thought that was a great name for it. And there's a hotel that they're in that's very similar to a hotel that used to exist in San Diego. There are rumors about things underneath San Diego without ruining it, which we get into in the book. And I draw on all of that from my time working at the convention and having seen some crazy things that you wouldn't believe. But
what's a crazy story? Whoa. What's one crazy story that you saw? Because I want to hear this. I heard some crazy stuff. What's one crazy story like that you could share that won't ruin your book, of course? Come on. Spookier the better.
This is not really, if you look at the cover of the book, you're going to see at the bottom of the cover, there are characters running in sewers underneath the convention characters above that are on the main side of the cover. So back in the day, downtown San Diego was allegedly built with underground tunnels in order to get the city hall people out of danger if the downtown area ever got attacked, because San Diego has the naval fleet there and the Marine base. So there was always a good chance that San Diego could get attacked if a war hit, So they have these, allegedly, have these underground tunnels. And in certain parts of San Diego, you would always see these purple crystals in the sidewalk. And the legend is that those crystals were there in order for sunlight to pass through so that it would light the tunnels underneath. Now, when I was at the Convention and Performing Arts Center way back in the day, that's the old location of Comic-Con, we saw where the tunnels were, right? Now, the city officially says that they do not exist, or that any tunnels that were there have been closed off. We saw them, and the treasurer that I was friends with, she opened up one of the doors. Like, it was a whole thing. Allegedly, people have gone in there exploring. I don't know, and I don't know if they're still there or not, but I play off of that a lot within the book.
That's really cool, and that's kind of spooky.
Homeless people were supposed to be there, and
maybe demons and goblins, right? You never know, right?
Right? You don't know. You don't know what's down there. There's this part of me that was like, I wanted to explore it, but then there was this part of me that's in that sort of fight or flight thing where I felt myself panicking, like I'm not that guy who panics in a crisis, and I remember being so terrified when Karina, who was the treasurer, opened up the door that led into the tunnels, and I was like, oh my God, we gotta leave, we're gonna die, there's gonna be a homeless person, we're gonna die. Yeah, that's brave.
That's funny though. That's good. You're coming from a perspective that a lot of people don't get to see. Millions and millions of people have been to the comic convention, the San Diego one, the main one, everybody. And, millions of people went there as fans, and they've walked through the halls and they've seen everything. But very rare amount of people have worked on the other side, and they've got to experience like things that you have. And that's why I feel, and some of our team members here feel, that your book is so unique, because it's coming from truth and experiences. But yeah, it is make-believe, but it's not make-believe, because there are people like that. Like every character in your book, there's somebody like that I know. I know somebody like that.
Right.
And
thank you.
It's really cool. If you would have said this is, autobiography, people would have believed it, because, hey, you were there, and, who's not going to believe you?
Right.
So that's a cool part of it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'd love it. I don't know if you guys are up for this, but I'm happy to do a giveaway if you guys want. We can give like 2 books out to listeners. However you guys want to do that as a giveaway, I'm happy to ship it out to them. I can autograph 2 copies and mail them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll go ahead and do that. We're going to actually be doing the holiday giveaway event coming up in the next, I think, 2 or 3 days. We're giving away some cool memorabilia, and we'll go ahead and add your books to it, and we'll go ahead and give you the fan details, and you can mail them directly to the fans. It'll be great, and thank you.
I can put it up to 4. You let me know.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, other than this book, what other projects you have coming up?
Well, so right now, or in terms of writing, I'm focusing on the marketing of the book itself. On the side, this is kind of random, but on the side, I'm a circus performer. So I do trapeze at a nightclub in Hollywood. Every other month, there's this variety show here called Booby Trap. It's on Wednesdays at the King, and it's an awesome, crazy-ass night of music, magic, comedy, and circus. And I perform my trapeze routine there. So that's my big thing is I've got that, and there's probably going to be a show that I'm working on, a circus show in like February and March. So that's where my focus is going to be at this first part of the year. And then we'll see. People are asking for me to start working on the second book in this series. So I started outlining things, and I'm kind of excited to get back in bed with these characters.
You have an open door to our show. Anytime you want to come on, talk to the fans, we would love to. You're a really cool person. They always say you're such a kind gentleman, and, we wish you the best success. And you're a trapeze artist, too. What else do you do, man?
Oh, that's the thing. I always dreamed that I'd be Robin from Batman and Robin, and so that's how I got into circus stuff.
That's cool.
And when my name's Richard, and then kids used to call me Dick, so I always liked Dick Grayson, right? Because I'm like, his name's Dick, and he's cool. Yeah. So that's
cool.
how I got into circus stuff.
Well, this is what I noticed with you, Richard. you basically did what you wanted. You volunteered at an event that you were an extreme fan of. You love the Comic-Con world, the comic book world. Then you went and did circus things to be part of it. Then you wrote a book, and you went to school for writing. Man, you're just living your dream and living your life. And that's, hey, you're cool, dude, man. And it's awesome. And where can the fans reach out? Where can the fans reach you on social media?
If it's for the book, it's Battle at the Comic Expo. That's on Instagram and on Facebook. You can also, the website is battleatthecomicexpo.com. And in any of those places, if you send me a message, I will hit you back. My personal Instagram is Rick Andreoli, and that's where you can see me, hanging from my neck on a trapeze or doing other stupid stuff. So whichever one, any place. I love hearing from people. So feel free to drop me a line.
I wish you the best of luck. Your book, Battle at the Comic Expo, I wish it sells 1 million copies. I can't wait till the series flourishes and goes to amazing heights. We're excited about it. We thank you for coming on, and we're going to give out these books.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate the support. Thank you.
No,
it means a lot.
Absolutely, Richard. And we can't wait to have you on the show and talk about your books in the future, and God knows where it goes. And ladies and gentlemen, like Richard said, you could pick up his book, Battle at the Comic Expo. You can go to the website. You can go to social media. You can catch his cool pictures doing trapeze stuff and all sorts of other amazing things. And that's about it. And guys, ladies, gentlemen, everybody out there, this is the wrap of the show. And at the end of every show, I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy with Richard, and we're signing out of Comic-Con Radio. And we blow him 1 million kisses, Richard. Now your turn. There you go. I make everybody do that. There's some very serious people I may do that, and they're like, what the hell? I've never done that before. But anyway.
That's awesome. No, it's awesome. The world needs more kisses. That's what I think.
Thank you so much, Richard. Everybody, see you guys. Peace. Love you. And pick up his book. See you later. Peace. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing out from another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Tune in for your daily shows of Comic-Con Radio. Go to comiccon-radio.com. Reach us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Comic-Con Radio. You can call us toll-free right now. 800-976-0305. 800-976-0305. Comic-Con Radio, taking the world one listener at a time.